Mate, you know what the difference is between you and me? Well, mate, I'm in like bloody Flynn. Yep, you know what I'm talking about. And as for you, mate, well, I'm afraid you've got Buckley's, mate. Got that? Buckley's chance. That's the difference between you and me, mate. What the bloody hell am I on about when I say that? Well, mate, let's have a look at Buckley's first.
I heard that, Bruce. And mate, sorry to be the one to tell you this, but you've got a body like a burst sausage and a head like a half-sucked mango. Mate, you don't have Buckley's.
Well, mate, although it pains me to say it, that showed quite clearly that if someone has Buckley's chance, then they don't have much of a chance at all. This is often shortened just to Buckley's. He's got Buckley's. Some people even say, he's got two chances, Buckley's and none, or somewhere between Buckley's and none. Where has this expression come from? Well, mate, to be honest, I reckon we got Buckley's chance of working that out, because it's such an old Aussie expression. But the popular story, mate, is it refers to a convict, William Buckley, who was sentenced to 14 years in the Australian convict settlement for receipt of stolen cloth. A bit of cloth, mate. He reckons he was set up. But then, he would say that, wouldn't he? Anyway, mate, it seems pretty obvious things were pretty tough back then. Like a lot of convicts, old Buckley took off to take his chances in the bush rather than cop daily floggings from our pommy friends. Of course, mate, most convicts who did this found it very, very tough. In fact, most of the poor bastards who tried this on carked it quick smart in Oz's unforgiving and foreign environment. But not our mate Buckley. He wandered around the bush like a bug-eyed lunatic, thirsty, dirty, tired and hungry. He stumbled for days and eventually came across an Aboriginal tribe, mate. But he was scared that they were going to eat him, and so he ran away. But he was still in trouble, mate. He got tireder, thirstier, dirtier and hungrier. He was about to cark it, mate, and so he approached the tribe again. For some reason they considered him to be one of their dead warriors reincarnated as a white man, and they welcomed him into their group. Buckley had no choice but to live with the Aborigines and learn their ancient ways, and he did so for 32 long years. He learnt bush tucker, he learnt hunting, he learnt their language. Eventually, fearing bloodshed between black and white, he rejoined the white community. The whites considered him a wild man of the bush. He certainly looked the part, and had even forgotten how to speak English. Anyway, mate, the bottom line is that this poor bastard, after 32 years in the bush, survived. But barely, mate, and the odds were certainly stacked against him. Indeed, mate, these days, and for the last 140 years or so, you could say that he had Buckley's chance of survival, or even Buckley's. Makes sense now, mate? But what about that other phrase, mate? Was Buckley in like Flynn with the natives? What does it mean to say someone's in like Flynn? Well, mate, again, let's try and work it out from the context in which it's used.
Tell you what, Jono, there is one way you could make up for it. Just leave me and Jules alone for a bit, mate. She's been on it all bloody arvo, and between you and me, I think after a few more amber nectars, I'll be in like bloody Flynn. No, fair dinkum, mate, I think I'm onto a bloody winner here.
So, mate, in contrast to Buckley's chance, if someone's in like Flynn, then they're in with a very good chance indeed. In fact, they think they're in full stop. So, for example, mate, you might say you're in like Flynn after a job interview. Or more likely, you might say you're in like Flynn in relation to the affections of a member of the opposite sex. Why is that, mate? Well, mate, here the reference is certainly to Errol Flynn, one of Australia's most successful actor exports. Back in the 30s and 40s, good old Errol married 3 times and was said to have had half of Hollywood's women chasing after him, and often catching him. So, mate, the in like Flynn expression was born, and remains, a dinkum part of Aussie English. Here's to being in like Flynn, mate. God knows we need to from time to time.